Good day everyone. So I am Siti Naila Abdul from Group 9. So I am the third reporter. So today I will discuss the continuation report of Miss Adam. So let's proceed to assessment and identification. Assessment and identification. When assessing for identification of disabilities, there is a set of general rules for evaluation for special education. This also applied whenever experts screen students who are at risk. However, Yale and College's 2013 proposed general principles in assessing learners. So dito, sa assessment and identification, ito ay kapag nag-a-assess or nag-a-identify ng disability sa mga bata. May mga general rules na sinusunod lalo na sa special education. So, ginagamit din ito ng mga experts kapag may mga estudyanteng at risk. And also, ayon daw kina Yale at College's 2013, may ilang general principles sa pag-a-assess ng mga learners. The first one is dapat kasama ang kanilang parents, since sila ang may mga major roles sa pag-decide ng educational plan ng anak nila. Kailangan nilang makipagtrabaho kasama ang team na gagawa ng IEP or Individualized Educational Plan. So, kasama sila sa pagdidesisyon kung ano ang pinakaangkop at least restrictive environment para sa mga bata. The second one is dapat multidisciplinary ang team. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang isang expert ang nag-a-assess. Maraming professionals ang kasama tulad ng psychologist, teacher, doctor, counselor at iba pa para mas accurate ang evaluation. So, number 3, dapat accurate at fair ang assessment. Dapat maayos ang proseso at ginagamit ang tamang test tools sa reliable, valid, at culture sensitive. Number 4 is confidential ang results. So, hindi basta-basta pwedeng i-share ang assessment result. Number 5 is may karapatan ang parents sa mediation or due process. So, kapag may hindi sila sang-ayon, pwede silang humingi ng formal review or hearing. Number 6 is required ang periodic revaluation. Yung mga batang may disability dapat na-assess yearly or regularly. Number 7 is kasama sa IEP ang transition planning, lalo na para sa mga students na lilipat from high school to college o pre-vocational programs. Number 8 is student with EBD or emotional behavioral disorder. Dapat kasama sa monitoring ng educational process or progress. Number 9 is dapat may positive behavior intervention plans. So, ginagawa ito based sa Functional Behavioral Assessment or FBA at kailangang included sa IEP. Next is screening. Screening is a systematic procedures of identifying children who show signs of behavioral disturbance or being at risk. So, dito sa screening, ang screening ay systematic process para i-identify ang mga bata na mga signs ng behaviors problems or at risk na magkakaroon ito. Ito yung unang step bago pa man ang diagnose ng EBD or Emotional and Behavior Disorders. So, may ilang tools na ginagamit. The first one is the Child Behavior Checklist. The Child Behavior Checklist or CBCL is a tool that can be utilized to detect emotional and behavior problems among children and adolescents. So, ang CBCL ay isang tool na ginagamit daw para ma-detect ang emotional at behavioral problems ng mga bata at teenagers. So, isa ito sa mga assessment tools ng Achenbach System or ASEBA. So, ang parents daw ang nag-fill out ng CBCL. Teachers naman ang may teacher's report from TRF. At yung bata or teen mismo ang nagko-complete ng self-report or YSR. So, ang purpose nito is para makita ang iba't ibang behaviors ng mga bata mula sa perspective ng magulang, teachers, at mismong child para mas accurate ang assessment. The next one is Behavior and Emotional Rating Scale. This Behavior and Emotional Rating Scale, 3rd edition, BERS 3, is a comprehensive assessment tool that evaluates behaviors from 3 different viewpoints. So, dito daw sa Behavioral and Emotional Rating Scales, ito ay isang comprehensive assessment tool na tumitingin sa behavior ng bata from 3 viewpoints. The first one is student, youth rating scale. The second one is parent rating scale. Last is the teacher, instructor, or instructor rating scale. So, tinitignan nito ang iba't ibang strength ng bata tulad ng interpersonal strength, pakikitungo sa iba, family involvement, or intrapersonal strength, self-management, confidence, and school functioning. Ito na yung affective strength or emotional stability. Ginagamit ito para makita kung ano pa ang needs ng mga bata. Mga recommended na interventions. So, maa-assist ang effectiveness ng programs. So, next is systematic screening for behavioral disorders. The systematic screening for behavioral disorders or SSBD is a 3-stage multiple gating screening system designed for the standardized screening and identification of students in grade 1 to 5 who may be at risk for externalizing or internalizing behavior disorder. So, number 3 is ito na yung systematic screening for behavior disorders or SSBD. So, ang SSBD ay 3-stage screening system para sa mga grade 1 to grade 5 students. So, ang layunin nito, makita kung sino ang at the risk of. First is the externalizing behaviors. Ito na yung aggressive, disruptive, internalizing behaviors. Ito na yung withdrawn and anxious. Standardized ito para lahat ng mga bata ay may equal chance para ma-identify correctly. Kasama ang teacher's ranking of student based on behavior. Next is pag-observe ng critical behavior events and ratings ng adaptive at maladaptive behaviors. So, ang goal nito is para ma-identify yung mga batang kailangan ng immediate support. The next one is the direct observation and measurement of behavior. This type of assessment is where the teacher or expert directly observe the actual behaviors that cause concern about the child in their natural setting. So, dito naman sa direct observation and measurement of behavior, dito, direktang mini-monitor ng teacher o expert ang actual behavior ng bata sa real setting. So, medyo time-consuming pero very accurate. So, tinitignan ang first is the frequency, gaano kadalas nangyayari ang behavior. The second is the duration, kung gaano katagal ginagawa ng bata yung behavior. Next is latency, gaano katagal bago magsimula ang isang behavior ng bata. And topography, kung ano yung itsura or form ng behavior. The next is the magnitude, kung gaano kalakas o ka-intense ang behavior ng isang bata. So, ang purpose nito is para magkaroon ng malinaw na picture ng behavior ng mga bata at ma-identify kung may sign ng EBD. So, next is the functional behavior assessment. So, functional behavioral assessment or FBA refers to the systematic collection of data on problematic behavior in order to comprehend and articulate the underlying causes for its occurrence. So, there are 5 outcomes of an FBA. O'Neill et al. 1997. So, dito sa Functional Behavior Assessment or FBA, ang Functional Behavior Assessment or FBA ay isang process ng pagkuha ng data tungkol sa problematic behavior ng isang student or isang learners para malaman kung bakit ito nangyayari. So, ang goal ng Functional Behavior Assessment is para mahanap ang dahilan ng behavior para makagawa ng tamang intervention. So, meron tayong 5 outcomes ng FBA. So, the first one is the operational definition ng problem behavior. So, dito, malinaw na paglalarawan kung ano mismo ang problematic behavior ng isang student or isang learners. The second is pag-identify ng setting events o antecedents ng isang bata. So, ito ang mga trigger bago mangyari ang behavior. Halimbawa, oras, lugar, activities. So, number 3 is ito na yung paglalarawan ng consequences. Ano ang nangyayari pagkatapos ng behavior na maaaring nagre-reinforce dito. Number 4 is a verification. Ito na yung pag-confirm kung tama ang observations about triggers and consequences gamit ang direct observation. Ang number 5 naman is the summary hypothesis. So, ito yung dahilan kung bakit nangyayari ang behavior. Ginagamit ito para gumawa ng behavior support plan. The next is the indirect functional behavior assessment. So, indirect methods involve collecting information about the student and their problematic behavior from others who gave direct interaction with the student or possess a good understanding of the student such as their parents. Dito sa indirect functional behavior assessment. So, ginagawa sa pamamagitan ng pagko-collect ng information mula sa mga taong nakakakilala sa bata or isang sa learners. So, tulad ng kanilang parents, teachers, at ibang significant people. So, ang tools na ginagamit dito, ang una is the structure interviews, the second is the questionnaires, and the third is the checklist. So, walang direct observation dito. Puro reports ng iba. So, the next is the descriptive functional behavior assessment. Descriptive functional behavior assessment is a type of FBA that identifies the factor that cause the behavior through direct observation and systematically collecting data on antecedents, events, or preceding the behavior. So, dito sa descriptive functional behaviors assessment, dito, direct na inoobserbahan ang mga bata. So, tinitignan ang antecedents, ano ang nangyayari bago ang kanilang behavior. The next is behavior mismo. The third is the consequences, ano ang nangyayari pagkatapos. So, ginagamit na methods dito is yung tinatawag na ABC data. So, the A is the antecedents or antecedent. The next is the behavior, and the C is the consequence. So next is the narrative recording, and the last is the scatter plot analysis. So the goal of descriptive functional behavior assessment is para malaman kung ano ang factors ang nagpapalabas ng behavior ng isang learners. The next is the functional analysis. So when conducting a functional behavior analysis or FBA, the procedure primarily entails manipulating the antecedent and subsequent events of the target behavior experimentally in an effort to confirm the behavior's proposed functions. So, dito sa functional analysis naman, ito ang mas advanced na method. So, sa functional analysis, intentional na minomodify ng expert ang triggers or yung antecedents at consequences para matest kung ano ang tunay na dahilan ng behavior ng isang learners. So, parang mini-experiment para ma-confirm ang functional behavior ng isang learners. So, the next is educational approaches. So, positive behavior intervention and supports o PBIS. So, the Center for PBIS defines positive behavioral intervention and supports PBIS as an evidence-based multi-tiered framework that aims to improve social, emotional, behavioral, and academic outcomes for all students. So, dito, sa positive behavioral interventions and supports or PBIS, so ang PBIS ay evidence-based system na ginagamit sa schools para mapaganda ang behavior learning and emotional outcomes ng students. So, isa itong multi-tiered system. Ibig sabihin, may iba't ibang level ng support depende sa need ng bata. So, we have three tiers of PBIS support. The first tier is the universal. So, para sa lahat ng students or learners. So, ang focus nito is para gumawa ng safe, positive, at predictable na school environment. So, kasama dito ang teaching behavioral expectations. And the second is pag-recognize ng positive behaviors. Ito ang pinaka-basic at foundation level. The tier 2 naman is the targeted. Para sa student na at risk o may early sign ng behavior problems. So, dito mas focus at small group interventions. For example, mentoring, check-in, check-out system, small group counseling. So, the tier 3 naman is the intensive for students na may malalang behavioral needs. So, highly individualized at comprehensive support. So, kasama ang functional behavior assessment at customized behavior intervention plans. So, in summary, the PBIS helps create a structured, positive environment sa school by using different level of support from general support for everyone to intensive help for students with serious behavior concerns. So, the next is the behavior intervention plan. So, dito sa behavior intervention plan or BIP, ang Behavior Intervention Plan o BIP ay isang plano na ginagawa para matulungan ang isang bata na may problematic behavior. So, ang layunin nito na palitan ang maling behavior ng mas positive at acceptable na behavior. So, para maging effective ang BIP, dapat First is nakabase sa Functional Behavior Assessment or FBA. So, kailangan nakukuha muna ang tunay na dahilan kung bakit nangyayari ang isang behaviors. The second is naka-align sa principles of behavior, gaya ng reinforcement, consequences, at triggers. Number 3 is dapat connected or akma sa values at skills ng bata at ng environment. Ibig sabihin, dapat realistic at kaya talagang gawin sa school. Number 4 is may malinaw na definition ng behaviors. So, dapat para lahat ng teachers ay pareho ang understanding kung ano ang kailangang baguhin. Number 5 is may summary mula sa FBA para alam kung ano ang triggers, ano ang behavior, at ano ang consequences. The number 6 is the consistent and implementation. Hindi dapat minsan lang ginagawa, kailangan tuloy-tuloy. Number 7 is may monitoring at evaluation para makita kung gumagana ba ang intervention o kailangan baguhin. Next is the teacher press. Teacher press as a reinforcement has been proven to convey powerful social approval on child performance or behavior. So, ang teacher press daw ay isang simpleng paraan pero napaka-effective. Kapag pinupuri ng teacher or kino-compliment ng teacher ang isang learners, kapag nagpapakita sila ng good behavior, na-inspire silang ulitin ito. For example, kapag attentive sila, kapag quiet, kapag nag-participate. So, dahil dito, tumataas ang confidence nila at mas nagiging motivated sila na mag-behave ng maayos. And positive or yung positive feedback, more good behaviors. The next is the high rates of active student response or ASR. So, dito, ito ay tumutukoy sa pagbigay ng maraming opportunities para ang student ay actively sumagot or gumawa ng task at mag-participate sa klase. So, kapag busy ang student sa lesson, worksheets, tasks, at activities, so mas kaunti ang chance nila na misbehave. So, bakit nga? Kasi wala ng oras para gumala, ma-distract, at gumawa ng hindi tama. For example, pag may structure lesson plan, worksheet nila ay nakalist na. So, ang teachers naman ay nagbibigay ng verbal reminders para ibalik ang focus. So, the result ng ganun is mas konti ang interruptions, mas konti ang misbehaviors, mas focus ang students sa learners or sa learning. So, the next is the teaching self-management. So, dito naman sa teaching self-management, maraming student na may EBD ay nahihirapan mag-control ng behavior nila. Kaya, tinuturuan sila ng self-management skills para matuto silang i-regulate ang sarili nila. So, kasama dito ang self-monitoring, pagiging aware sa ginagawa nila. For example, sinusulat nila kung ilang beses silang nag-i-interrupt for or nagpa-follow ng rules. The second is the self-evaluation. Pagtataya sa sarili kung natupad nila ang behavioral goal. The third is the self-reinforcement. So, pagbibigay ng small reward sa sarili nila kapag na-achieve ang goal. For example, kapag naging quiet ako ng 20 minutes, bibigyan ko ang sarili ko ng sticker. Number 4 is the self-instruction. So, tinuturuan ang bata kung paano kausapin ang sarili para makontrol ang behavior. For example, calm down, focus, finish first. So, the overall effect nito is mas natutulungan ang student na may EBD na kontrolin ang actions nila at maging independent.